Welcome to the Enable Growth channel. Hello, welcome to another Enable Growth podcast. I'm so glad you joined me today. How's the year been? It's almost the end of March, and I'm sure by now, as marketing and communications people, you've run some campaigns and seen how the year is looking. I hope it's been good for you. If it hasn't been, let's keep pushing. We'll get the right results eventually. That's what we do anyway. Today, I want us to have a conversation about campaigns. As marketing and communications people, we run campaigns to deliver results to our brands, to our businesses, and even in politics, we run campaigns. So, campaigns are things that we do almost not every day, but we do periodically to drive performance. I want to discuss campaigns in this context. A campaign is what I call a set of marketing or communication or even political activities that are designed and executed to achieve specific objectives over a specific period of time. So it's not always on. And let me explain what always on is. Always on is the kind of post that you put on your social media every day. So even if you're not running a campaign, the kind of things that you put on your social media, that's what I call always on content. But campaigns are things we execute over a period to deliver specific results. Now, if you're going to run a campaign, the first assumption I want to make is that you would have a campaign strategy. So you have a document or a blueprint that spells out exactly what you're going to do, the objectives you have, the set of channels that you're going to use, the money you're going to spend, everything that you're going to need to run a very good campaign. Okay, and like I said, we run campaigns for specific objectives. So it may be, let's say, a new brand that you want to create awareness. So you run an awareness campaign. You're not really looking to sell. Yes, you will sell, but your main objective is to create awareness so that people will know there's a new brand. Okay, sometimes you're running a campaign to drive traffic to your new e-commerce platform, or you want to run a campaign to get people to support your candidate if it's in politics, for example. Even churches run campaigns. Easter is coming. You may have an Easter convention and you want to run a campaign to create awareness about the upcoming convention so that people will attend. You also want to make sure that as part of the campaign, you also want to fundraise. Okay, so these are all campaigns that we execute. And campaigns, like I said earlier, are sets of activities that we run to deliver specific objectives. Okay, these objectives are needed to be able to show how we are able to contribute to the business. Okay, so we need campaigns to be able to deliver performance, if I can put it that way. Okay, now unfortunately, campaigns don't always work out the way that we want them to work out. We don't always get the results because when you have objectives, you need to set KPIs, you need to set some targets. So for example, if it's an awareness campaign, you want to increase top of mind awareness by a certain percentage, or you want to reach, let's say, 10 million people, you want to reach 5 million new people. Okay, or if it's like to drive traffic to your website, you want to make sure that, for example, you want to set a target like every month, I want to get an average of 50,000 new visits to the website. These are all targets that you set out of your objectives. We don't always achieve them. So today, what I want us to discuss is some of the reasons why we don't always achieve our targets. The first one I want to mention is failure to have a clear strategy or blueprint for the campaign. You don't start a campaign without having a document that spells out and states clearly what you want to do, how you want to do it, how you're going to measure performance, and also the resources that you would need to be able to deliver the campaign. If you start a campaign without a blueprint or a strategy, you're going to get stuck, because what you will find is that in the course of running the campaign, supposedly running the campaign, you start doing things that do not relate to your objectives, or things that do not, they were not even planned, for example. Okay, you start trying out things, and that's not the way to run an effective campaign. So that's the first one I want to talk about. Now, the second one is a failure to consider the uniqueness of your audience. Now, every campaign is targeted at a unique audience. You don't run a campaign targeting everybody. You run a campaign targeting a specific audience, and your audience have specific, they have uniqueness. Okay, they have specific, characteristics. They have, even if you want to put them together as like a group, they have some specific behaviors and trends and specific, things about them that you need to really consider. For example, if you run a campaign that's targeting, let's say, Gen Zs, you need to understand the sort of media the Gen Zs, consume. For example, last week I was talking to someone about whether or not TV is dead, and I said that TV is not dead. Neither is TikTok or Instagram irrelevant. Okay, is it just a fad? What you need to understand is that different generations, different target audience use different platforms to discover new products and to engage. So if it's a product that's targeted at Gen Zs, for example, you want to make sure that you are active on TikTok, on Instagram, for example, so that, because that's where your audience are, and you have to appreciate their uniqueness. So in your strategy, when you are outlining the platforms that you're going to use, if it's a strictly Gen Z kind of brand and you are targeting Gen Zs, you probably can afford to ignore, not have anything to do with newspapers, for example. Okay, same way, you can maybe decide not to do any radio or any TV. Okay, I'm not saying go and do that, but the point I'm making here is that let the media consumption habit of your target audience determine the choices of media, your media plan. Okay, so let's go back to the point I made earlier, that campaigns sometimes fail because we don't consider the uniqueness of our target audience. So like I've used the media example, you start planning a campaign saying, this TV station is big, my ads should be on the TV station, for example, without considering the fact that your target audience may not even be using that TV station, may be watching that TV station. So that's important. We can delve a lot more into this one, but I want to go on to the next one. And then the absence of a relevant, consistent, and compelling message. This is so important. Every campaign is linked by the message, the campaign message. Okay, so if your campaign has incoherent and inconsistent messaging, then it means that people will get confused. Your audience will not be able to see and be able to follow your campaign. This is where, for example, the use of a hashtag is very key. Sometimes your hashtag alone can be what links your campaign. Okay, so for example, next week, one of my clients is organizing an event called CISO Summit. Okay, and what we've done is that the hashtag is CISO Summit Accra. Okay, and we're going to use that for all the communication. What that means is that this is a summit that we are organizing. It's for people who are chief information security officers of the organizations, and it's the CISO Summit that's happening in Accra, not the one in Belgium, not the one wherever. Okay, so that is just using the hashtag to connect all the messages that we have. Okay, so again, one of the reasons why campaigns fail is that sometimes the messages are disconnected. In fact, sometimes as bad as the TVC, for example, for the TV commercial for the campaign, not having any connection with the social media content, and the social media content not having any connection with what's on TV. Or even people see things on TV, and the TV commercial ends with your website, and yet when people come to your website, the first thing they see there is not the campaign creative. Okay, so it's disconnected. Make sure that your messages are all well connected. The next one is I want to talk about is a failure to align activities with the objectives of your campaign. This is very important. If you are running an awareness campaign, okay, for example, and you have a video as the key creative for your campaign, you want to make sure that what you are measuring is video views, reach and video views. So the activities that you are running should be linked with the objective that you want to achieve. Because for this campaign, it's an awareness campaign. You want to make sure people see and become aware of whether it's a new brand or whatever. That's an awareness campaign you're running. That's fine. That means that, for example, sales activities are not what you should be investing a lot more in, because remember, it's an awareness campaign. It's not a sales drive. Okay, so if you're investing the chunk of your money in, for example, sales activities in store and all those things, unless those are driving awareness, then you are not linking your activities with your objectives. You end up not being able to measure and account for every dollar that you spend effectively, because what you find is that you spend a lot of money, all right, but they didn't contribute to the achievement of your objectives. Let me give another example. If, for example, the purpose of your campaign is to drive traffic to your website, okay, so, or it's a lead generation campaign, for example, there's no point in working with mega or celebrity influencers if these influencers are not going to be able to drive traffic to your platform, and they also are unable, they are not capable of influencing the preferences and the choices of your target audience. What you will get is a lot of eyeballs, a lot of awareness, without necessarily driving traffic to your website, without necessarily generating leads. So let's always link our objectives with the activities that we are executing. Okay, that's very, very important. And then, of course, straight linking on to that is use of the wrong channels. Okay, like I said earlier, if you understand your target audience, you choose the right channels. So, okay, so for example, do a good research and have a clear understanding of your audience before you choose your channels. If you want to speak to, for example, people who are in their 30s to 50s, people who you may call, whether it's Generation X, or you may even call them, let's say, millennials or baby boomers or whatever older generation. Okay, if you're talking about to an older generation, let's say it's an insurance product, you're talking to an older generation. They may be on TikTok, all right, they may be on Instagram, all right, but that's not where they make decisions about these products and services. So you want to invest a lot more in your website and also in search ads, so that you are driving traffic to your website. Okay, you want to invest in a platform, and even do some print ads, because these people still read newspapers, they still watch a lot of TV, watch news, and that's where they go to discover new products and services. Okay, so you want to do that. So your choice of channels should be related to your target audience. Okay, if you choose the wrong channels, you get the wrong results. Okay, and then failure to allocate enough budget to the campaign. I often say it. Marketing, especially digital marketing, is pay to play. If you don't put in the right amount of money, if you don't invest the right amount of money, you won't be able to play the game the way that it should be played. So allocate enough budget to every campaign, okay, so that you'll be able to, at the end of the campaign, say that this is how much we invested in it. We didn't like the amount we invested in it wasn't too small. We gave it a good shot, and we got the results that the money could get us. If we fail to get the results, then it's not because of the money, it's because of other things. Okay, that's very, very important. And then the other one also, since we're talking about digital, is failure to monitor, measure, and optimize performance in campaign. What we often do as marketing and communications people, and even politicians, is that we wait till the end of a campaign, then we say we're doing a campaign evaluation, we're doing an assessment. No. Today you have every opportunity to monitor, measure, and optimize your campaign even while the campaign is running. Because data abounds. For example, there's so many analytics tools that you can use to be able to give yourself a good chance to get the results that you want from the campaign. And the key here is that as you track the performance, optimize performance as you go on. So for example, if last week we were able to, let's say, drive 10,000 people to our website, and our target is to get 15,000 people. Let's review it. Why didn't we get 15,000 people per week? And let's optimize that. Even if we exceeded it, is the opportunity to even get more? Because sometimes maybe we even underestimate how many clicks or how much traffic we can drive to our website. So let's do that. Okay, 2 more and we'll be done. Failure to include all stakeholders. This is very, very important. Now, when you're running a campaign, it's not a marketing team or a political campaign team or you, the politician, sitting in a silo doing your own thing. There are other people involved, other stakeholders involved, and you need to do this very well. Let me use a practical example. I used to do a bit of work for a client, that's a bank. Now, we launched a new product beautifully, did everything we could do, and it went very well. Unfortunately, the next day, I went to one of their branches asking to open an account for the product. And the ladies in the branch could not even tell me anything about the product. Why? Because they hadn't been engaged before the launch of the product. And they didn't even know about the product. This is why it's always good to do an internal launch before you do an external launch of a product. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that engage all stakeholders so that at every point, everybody that's involved will know what the campaign should be. In the same way, I've run campaigns where at some point finance tells you, well, we can't release money because we only release money quarterly. And it's simply because the client didn't brief the finance manager and didn't allow the finance manager telling them that for this campaign we need so much money upfront, and so you need to make the exception. They didn't engage the stakeholders. Okay, so let's not make that mistake. The last one I've got here is failure to deliver a rewarding experience. Now, campaigns are all about experience. Okay, especially campaigns that drive, for example, people from, let's say, an email to your website, for example. You don't want to send people from your email or from a phone number to your website or to a campaign portal where when they get there, they can't find anything about the campaign. You need to rather kind of like scour around looking for, the campaign, for example. This is why where you have a website, you have a slider, for example. When you're running a campaign, change the sliders. So the sliders should all reflect the campaign. You should communicate the campaign message. In the same way, if you have a phone line that's used for multiple things within an organization, the welcome message, for example, when you're running a campaign, make sure the welcome message is changed. So when people call, they would hear "Welcome to so and so campaign." Okay, that's the way you do it. Now, I've run through these as some of the reasons why campaigns fail. I hope these are useful. Go through them, go back to your campaigns that you're running, check whether your campaigns are aligned with any of these, and then you've ticked any of these boxes, and let's have a conversation. Remember, don't forget to click below and subscribe to my channel and come back for another video. See you on the next one.